Fresh killer.
What up, Vibe? So, episode 4 of Atlanta deals with the white psyche. It deals with how white people will deal with the atonement as it manifests itself in reparations. And it centers on Doug. It centers on Doug from The Hangover. The leading actor is Doug from The Hangover. His name is Justin Bartha. And the whole episode, they set this, it's called the Big Payback. And he's listening to the radio in the beginning. They talk about this lawsuit for Tesla because a black employee a black person sued the company because one of the people owned his ancestors. So it goes from there, and it's rife with all of this anxiety where Doug works, and the white people are really anxious because they're just like, oh my God, this sets a terrible precedent. And lo and behold, as it evolves, a woman named Shaniqua comes to this white man's door and says, "You own my ancestors. I want your money. I want some money." She's looking at his house. This is my house now. And so you get the point. But it's very satirical, and they create this universe in which this is like really happening. And I think they did some things really well. They did some things not so well in terms of the episode. I'll start with a good thing. This is something that has been explored for quite a while. What happens when the position at the top of society, when that is no longer reserved for just white people? How would they react and respond under that kind of pressure? I remember I was in Miami, Florida, and, just kind of getting familiar with the city, going around. I end up meeting this white South African. And this was around the time when they were going to redistribute the farmlands, which had been owned by white people, descendants of the Dutch and descendants of the British, for like 400, 500 years. They were going to redistribute that and give it to the majority black population. And I posed that issue to this white person. And this white person was so incensed by the idea. This government is so corrupt, had it for hundreds of years. I didn't have anything to do with this oppression, this, that, and the other. Like, he would not entertain the idea. And you could tell that he was very frazzled by this notion. And I didn't push back in any way. I just asked him the questions and I listened. I thought it was very interesting. So I'm sure that you all have heard the quote in the Bible, Matthew chapter 20, verse 16. So the last will be first and the first will be last. And what happens when all you have ever known was to be first, is to have people under you? That is your norm. When that is disrupted, then who are you? What do you have to fall on? How do you look at yourself? Can you continue to look at yourself knowing that your position has been lost, not just lost, but taken from you? I want to read a passage from the greatest essay ever written. That is The Fire Next Time by James Baldwin in 1963. He dealt with this issue. He says that, try to imagine how you would feel If you woke up one morning to find the sun shining and all the stars aflame, you would be frightened because it is out of the order of nature. Any upheaval in the universe is terrifying because it so profoundly attacks one's sense of one's own reality. Well, the black man has functioned in the white man's world as a fixed star, as an immovable pillar. And as he moves out of his place, heaven and earth are shaken to their foundation. That's the theme that this show so boldly deconstructs. Ultimately, the woman Shaniqua takes over his house, and he comes home one day to find Shaniqua and all her black cousins and relatives and nephews barbecuing on his front porch as they listen to Keith Sweat. They listen to Keith Sweat, Make It Last Forever. And Shaniqua says, there you go. And then one of the relatives is chasing him. And this white guy is gunning it to the floor. And I thought that the black guy was going to actually catch him. And I was like, oh my God, they're on some super cliche type stuff now, right? But he didn't. The black guy didn't catch him, but it seemed like he was going to catch him. But he didn't, and Doug was able to get away. But I thought about that. It was so funny to me because what is the blackest thing that you could possibly imagine? Black people on a porch, barbecuing, listening to Keith Sweat. And there goes the neighborhood. It's so funny. It was so funny. Like, they got it. They captured it. What is the white man's fear? Black people freely listening to I guess the only thing that would have been worse if they were listening to some like Teddy Riley or something. If they were listening to some New Jack Swing, that would have been even worse, right? But it's so funny. But okay, so at any rate, the white guy, I want to call him Doug, if y'all don't mind. Doug from The Hangover. He checks into the hotel, has a conversation with the white guys in a similar situation. And spoilers, of course, spoilers abound. The white guy, after he tells him the information, we're in the same situation, and it feels like they had a genuine, moment in which they connected. Moments later, the white guy goes outside by the pool, shoots himself in the head. His body is in the pool. That's the end of the episode. So I thought that once again, it was very bold. Atlanta's always bold, and they explored this issue. What would happen? It's like during the stock market crash, and white people were jumping from buildings because they lost everything in the stock. And this idea of black people, suing white people, or black people getting these reparations from them, it feels like a piece of what white people fought so hard to establish and to protect this idea of America, and it is being attacked. And what are they to do? Because white guilt, the notion of white guilt is so prevalent, as evidenced earlier in the episode when the daughter of Doug says, "Dad, are we racist? One of my friends at school says that we're racist," and he has to grapple with this. No, we're not racist, but he has to think about this because he wants to be a good guy. But what is the price of being a good guy when people want to take what you feel is rightfully yours? What does it mean for something to be rightfully yours when it's built upon slavery? It was very intriguing. I also must say that this was probably my least favorite episode of the show. And that is because they look at this issue through the lens of a white person and how that impacts a white family and white people, which I think is brave, and it's outside of the box. Atlanta knows no box. That's incredible. They attack things from all angles. Great for them. But there are so many shows that address problems and issues from a white perspective. Now, with Atlanta being Black, they're able to approach the issue with more rawness and unfiltered, because they don't have to worry about being called racist because they're a Black show. So, of course, Donald Glover and the writer of this show, they took that to heart, and they did that. Good for them. And the writer of the show is actually an El Salvadorian young lady, El Salvadorian American, which I thought was which was cool. Like, she's a young person shining. But back to the point. So you know, they together, they address this issue, and that's great. But I think that Atlanta is great because it approaches all the nuance of Blackness and the depth of Blackness, the Black weird person, the Black hip hop star, the Black hustler trying to make it, Black people in this age of confusion where they feel like they're getting ahead, but really, are they getting ahead? What does it mean to get ahead? And it's this Black universe that parallels ours, but it is very unique. There are lots of differences as far as what is accepted in that world, which would be weird and out of the norm in our world. And I love that, for all of the variations and shades of Blackness that the show Atlanta invests in, that it projects, that it displays to the audience for us to consume. That's why this viewer is absolutely obsessed with the show. And in this episode, they get away from that, a little too far away from that for me. So I can't wait for next week's episode, where hopefully they go back into the psyche of Black people. But I still appreciate the journey that Atlanta took me on this week. So let me know what you all think. Of course, subscribe to the tribe, like this, drop a comment, share this with your homie, share this with your partners, share this with your play cousins. I'm Rodney Porter. Peace, tribe, and enough.